Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing out the new Milani Gilded Rouge palette, and this is what it looks like. I actually made a first impressions video of this, but it didn't save onto my camera. So while this won't be a first impressions, it'll still be a very accurate review and a test, since I did not use all of the shades last time. Here's the outside. The outside is embossed. This pattern here is embossed up, and the lettering is also embossed, so that's really nifty. All of the shades are also listed on the back. This is what it looks like when you open her up. She's very pretty. Decent sized mirror. Excuse that it's filthy dirty, but you know, whatever. If you couldn't tell, I already have foundation on and some bronzer. I will list everything that I used in the description box, and let's get into playing with some makeup. I already primed my eyes with my special eye priming duo, the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer and the eyeshadow primer. I'm going to take this Luxie brush. It's a dual-ended brush. I don't think they sell it anymore. I got it in an Ipsy bag, but I know they sell it separately. A medium-sized fluffy crease brush. And this end is like a little shader brush. I don't know if you can see. I know they sell them separately because I have a separate one right here. This is the shader. This is called the Luxie 239 Precision Shader Brush. So anyway, I'm going to take this crease brush and I'm going to dip into Untitled, which is this really like taupey color. I'm going to run it into my crease and blend, making sure it's very diffused. This shade does have a little bit of kickback that I discovered last time in the video that did not save, but the color is really pretty. There are a couple shades in here that are more of a satin finish, like Bubbly and Entitled are more very satin, and Lust and Dark Side I personally feel are borderline satin mattes, like a hybrid in between those two. It's not completely matte, but it's not completely satin. Alright, I'm going to actually take Bubbly, and I'm going to put a wash all over my lid and kind of diffuse that crease color even more. Bubbly does have just a small tiny bit of shimmer in it, but it's nothing crazy. Like, it's not outlandish. Okay, I think I am going to take the shade Dripping, that shade, and I'm just going to take the shader side of that same brush. I'm going to dip into the color and I'm going to pat it all over my lid. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. I have really been into using more like pastel-y type shades on my eyes and going more simple. I feel like it's the most flattering on me. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the occasional bold, crazy look. But recently I'm just, maybe it's summertime, maybe it's because it's summer and I just want breezy, natural, ethereal type looks. Okay, now I'm going to dip into Posh right here, and I'm going to focus it with just the same brush that I tapped off. I'm going to focus it on the outer portion right here. Now I'm just going to dip into that same shade and do the same thing on the other side and just patting to blend it rather than buffing. Okay, now I'm going to take a very tiny brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Fuzzy. And I'm actually going to wet my brush before dipping in so as to create like a liner. I'm not going all the way in, just focusing on the outer portion and maybe going like 3/4 of the way in, just to create a very subtle definition on my eye. What I have noticed with this palette is some of the shades, they behave more like a cream than a powder, like a pressed powder, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You just gotta be aware of that. Like This shade, Solid Gold, definitely more of a cream texture. It kind of reminds me of the Super Shock shadows in Formula, how it's kind of like a creamy, powdery type of a consistency, but this is slightly more putty-like. Does that make sense? Now I'm just going to take a very tiny fluffy brush. This is the BH Cosmetics number 7, and I'm just going to kind of buff out that liner just so it's more of a ethereal, natural, subtle, all of those things. I'm just going to kind of wipe off the brush. The same exact brush, I'm going to go into Entitled, and I'm going to tap in a little bit of bubbly. And I'm going to run it right underneath, all the way. Okay, now I'm going to go into that shade Dripping again with this little fluffy brush. Yeah, this one's slightly creamy too because it went on really, really well with this more densely packed brush. And they blend out fine with a fluffy brush, but actually trying to pick up the pigment directly out of the pan with a brush, fluffy brush like this, is proving to be sort of difficult. I'm not getting as much payoff as I would like, but we're making it work. Okay, now I'm going to take this same tiny brush that we used to create the liner, and I'm going to go into the shade Why Not. I'm not going to wet my brush because I don't want to make it all that definitive. And I'm just going to focus this color on the outer fourth of my lower lash line, just to add a little bit of depth down there. And then I'm going to kind of take it just maybe just a skosh past where my eye actually starts and where, dare I say, those little crow's feet. They're not like for real crow's feet, but you can see them starting. Then I'm going to buff it out with just that tiny blending brush that I was using earlier. Does anybody else cock their head while they do their makeup? I don't know. Just catch myself doing it. Come here. I totally forgot that I didn't do my brows, so I'm going to pause on my eyeshadow because I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to use the CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil in the shade Soft Brown. I'm sorry, I can't talk while I do my eyebrows, so I'll probably just speed this part up. Okay, got my eyebrows on. I feel so much better. I have a little towel here. I'm just wiping off this little dense brush that I was using, and I'm going to dip into some After Party and Don't Ask, just mixing them slightly. And I'm gonna kind of pat it in the very center just to give a little bit of definition. We want to get some oomph. I'm gonna try to buff it out with this fluffy end. We faked. Now going into After Party, and I'm going to just pop it right in here. It's a little dark by itself, but I will layer a highlighter on top of it and we'll be good. If you could hear that screaming, those were my kids, and I apologize. I'm home alone right now, trying to film, but I keep running up and down the stairs because they keep screaming at each other, and it's just like, ugh, that's why I'm out of breath right now. Okay. I didn't put any blush on because I did not know exactly what direction I was going to go in with this bad boy. But I'm thinking of just being pretty neutral on my cheeks. So my new favorites have been these ColourPop blush sticks. So I think I'm going to go in with the shade Aloha. My favorite way to apply these is just swipe them directly on my base. And then I blend them out with my sponge. Oh yes, I am loving it. That's so pretty. It makes me look like I was outside, which I need a lot. Am I the only one who puts blush on top of their lip? And on their nose, and on their chin. And I also put a couple dots up here, just so I have some unity on my face. Nothing too crazy, just enough to tie it together. I'm gonna go into the ColourPop Mistress of All Evil, and I'm gonna take this BH Cosmetics No. 4 brush from the Rose Gold collection, and I'm gonna swirl it in there, and then I'm gonna buff it out. Never mind. I'm gonna apply with my fingers, and then I'm gonna buff it out with the brush. Yeah. So let me guys know what your favorite brands are, or if there's any brands that I might have not tried yet, so I can try them out, because I always like to try new things. Alright, now I'm going to go into this tiny brush, and I'm going to dip it into this highlighter, and I'm going to kind of pop it right on top of all that other stuff we did on the inner corner. Okay, I'm going to take my sponge, and I'm kind of going to buff all this together a little bit more. That's better. Alrighty. I think I'm going to add a little bit more depth in my crease. It's still feeling a little bit flat to me. I'm going to dip into a Why Not, just a skosh. And I'm going to kind of, like, I'm barely touching my lid. And I'm going to kind of run it. Connect and then go in. You know, like a little pointy C shape. I know this is glittery. Technically, you're not supposed to put it in your crease, but you know what? Rules were meant to be broken. Just all sorts of shiny today. Alright, I'm going to take a clean brush. This is the Rose Gold Collection No. 5. I'm going to dip into some bubbly. And I'm going to very gently sweep it underneath my eyebrow. I don't want anything too shimmery because my whole lid's shimmery. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just letting it go. I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to dip into bubbly. And I'm going to put it right up here. Okie dokie. Now time to spray my face. As always, Pacific Coconut Essence. Okay, I'm gonna do my eyelashes and I will be right back. Alright, got my mascara on, used my L'Oreal, what I usually wear. I think I want to go vampy, so I think I'm gonna go in with this Flower Beauty Miracle Matte Lip. This is the shade Merlot Kiss. I do have to moisturize really well before this lipstick because it kind of dries my lips out a lot. I know this is tinted, but it was the nearest lip balm to me, so I'm gonna rub it in, make sure all that moisture gets in my lips. Alright, now into the lipstick. Does anybody else's bottom lip come out really far in the center and it creates this little like shelf and you don't know where your lip ends and your chin begins? Makes it really difficult when you're a dark lip lover. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry a little bit and then I think I'm gonna tap a little bit of gloss in the center because I've been really into some glossy lips lately. Okay, I think that's dried down pretty good. I'm going to take the Pixi by Pectra gloss. This is in the shade Sheer Rose. It's tiny because this is something I got in my Ipsy bag this month. I will link that video down below. Alright, let's go over my final thoughts on this Milani palette. I actually really think that video not saving was a huge blessing in disguise because I was about to borderline not recommend it because I had a little bit of trial and error. Maybe it was just the day. Maybe I was having an off makeup day. It was like, I filmed it kind of late and it was just kind of like, wow. But anyways, I do think that the colors in this are super beautiful. I've been really into purpley shades lately, so I'm really loving this side. It was very easy to work with once I figured out, hey, most of these shimmery type eyeshadows are more of a cream base and they work better with a more dense brush and you can blend them out with a more fluffy brush, but trying to pick them up with a fluffy brush for me proved very difficult and I didn't get a good color payoff. I think the palette size is nice. It's not too big, it's not too small. For comparison, here is my Kathleen Lights Zodiac palette. So yes, on the whole, I do recommend this palette if these colors speak to you. They definitely spoke to me. That is why I bought it. I wanted to review it for you guys. And yes, it is, I don't think the price point's that bad. You get 16 shades for $20. I don't think that's bad at all. That's very, very reasonably priced. The quality is nice once you learn how to work with them. And yes, I think it's a beautiful palette, and I really, really like the way my eye look turned out. I'm feeling very vampy, like a springy vampy. Does that make sense? Anyway, with all of the warm toned palettes, like this bad boy, which I adore, and then the new California Love palette that just came out by ColourPop, I do think that this Gilded Noir palette is a nice breath of fresh air. I do really enjoy the coolness to the shadows. So yes, today was fun. Thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I hope to see you again next time. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the little bell so you will be notified every single time I upload. And thank you so much again. Bye! Oh, eyelash. Hi.
Hi.
Where did it go? La, 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 la.